The Galactic Council had always maintained one ironclad rule. Humans were expendable. They were the janitors of the cosmos, the maintenance workers on distant mining colonies, the disposable labor force that kept the great machine of interstellar civilization running. No one expected heroism from them. No one expected sacrifice. Ken had never thought of himself as a hero. He was just a maintenance technician on Station Epsilon 7, a sprawling orbital platform that served as a trade hub for 17 different species. His days consisted of fixing air recyclers, patching hull breaches, and avoiding the condescending glares of the station's more evolved inhabitants. Humans were tolerated here, nothing more. It was during a routine inspection of the station's eastern market district that everything changed. The marketplace was a cacophony of alien languages, exotic smells, and the constant hum of anti-gravity cargo loaders. Ken was checking a faulty power conduit when he heard it, a child's scream, followed by the distinctive crackle of an electrical fire. He turned to see a Valdran child, no more than 5 cycles old by his estimate, trapped behind an overturned vendor stall. Sparks rained down from a severed power line, and flames were already licking at the synthetic materials of the stall. The child's lavender skin had turned pale with terror, their 4 eyes wide with panic. The crowd backed away. Even the child's own species, the Valdran, a proud warrior race known throughout the galaxy, stood frozen. The fire was spreading too fast, the electrical current too dangerous. Any rational being would wait for emergency services. Ken didn't think. He just ran. He grabbed a torn awning and wrapped it around his arms, then plunged into the flames. The heat was immediate and excruciating. His skin blistered within seconds, and the acrid smoke filled his lungs. Through watering eyes, he spotted the child huddled in the corner, whimpering in their native tongue. "It's okay," Ken gasped, though he knew the child couldn't understand English. "I've got you." He scooped up the small form and turned back toward the opening. A support beam, weakened by the fire, chose that moment to collapse. It struck Ken's shoulder and he felt something crack. White-hot pain shot through his body, but he didn't let go. He couldn't let go. With the last of his strength, Ken hurled the child toward the opening where waiting hands pulled them to safety. Then the world went dark as burning debris cascaded down upon him. Ken woke 3 days later in the station's medical bay. His entire upper body was wrapped in regenerative bandages, and the antiseptic smell of alien medicine filled his nostrils. A human nurse, Mia according to her name tag, stood by his bedside, her brown eyes filled with an emotion he couldn't quite place. "Welcome back," she said softly. "You've been making quite a stir." "The kid?" Ken's voice was a rasp. "Safe. Completely unharmed." Mia smiled. "You saved them, Ken. You saved HFY Valdran." The name meant nothing to him. He closed his eyes, exhausted. "Good, that's good. Ken," Mia's voice took on a strange tone. "Do you know whose child that was?" He shook his head slightly. "Orcs is the youngest offspring of Commander HFY Valdran, the Supreme Commander of the Valdran Imperial Fleet." She paused. "You saved the child of the most powerful military leader in 3 sectors. Ken's eyes opened. "Oh, yeah, oh." Mia glanced toward the door. "They've been waiting to see you. The whole family. They arrived yesterday." When Ken was finally cleared to receive visitors, he expected perhaps a formal thank you, maybe some compensation for his medical bills. What he got instead was something entirely different. The door to his room opened and 6 figures entered. They were all Valdran, their lavender skin marked with the intricate tattoos of military rank. They wore ceremonial armor that gleamed under the medical bay's lights, and each carried themselves with the bearing of trained warriors. At the center was Commander HFY themselves, a towering figure whose 4 eyes held an intensity that made Ken's breath catch. Behind them, a smaller form peeked out, little Orcs, now wearing a clean tunic and looking far healthier than when Ken had last seen them. The commander approached Ken's bed and did something that made every human in the medical bay freeze in shock. They knelt. "Ken of Earth," the commander's voice was deep and resonant, translated through the universal comm device at their throat. "You have done what none of my own warriors could. You ran toward death to save my child when all others ran away." Ken swallowed hard. Anyone would have." "No." The commander's interruption was firm. "No one else did, only you. Only a human." They placed a clawed hand over their chest where their 3 hearts beat beneath armor and flesh. The Valdrin have a saying, a life debt binds stronger than steel, deeper than blood. You are owed a debt that can never truly be repaid. One of the other Valdrin stepped forward, carrying an ornate case. The commander opened it to reveal a crystalline pendant that seemed to contain a fragment of a star. This is the Star of Valdris, the commander explained. It is given only to those who have shown valor beyond measure. In our entire history, only 53 beings have received this honor. You are the 54th. They paused. You are also the first human. Ken stared at the pendant, overwhelmed. Commander, I don't need, there is more. The commander's expression softened slightly. From this day forward, you are under the protection of House Valdrin. Any who would harm you would face the full might of the Imperial fleet. Your family, your friends, your entire species. We will remember what you have done. Little Eric's squirmed forward and pressed something into Ken's unbandaged hand. It was a child's drawing, crude but clearly made with care, showing a stick figure pulling a smaller figure from flames. They wanted you to have it, the commander translated, as Eric's spoke in their chirping native language. They say you are their hero. Tears pricked at Ken's eyes. Not from pain, but from something else entirely. Mia watched from the corner of the room, her own eyes glistening. She had been on this station for 3 years, enduring the casual dismissal and outright prejudice that humans faced every day. And now here was proof, undeniable, beautiful proof, that humanity's capacity for selfless courage could not be ignored. The commander stood, and the other Valdrin straightened with them. We will leave you to rest, Ken of Earth, but know this, the galaxy has taken note. Humanity has been underestimated for too long. As they filed out, Eric's lingered for a moment, waving a small 4-fingered hand. Ken waved back, wincing at the pain from his burns. When the door closed, Mia approached and gently adjusted his pillows. You know what you've done, right? She asked quietly. Saved a kid? Ken offered weakly. Mia shook her head, a smile playing at her lips. You've changed everything. The Valdrin are already spreading the story. Other species are talking about it. For the first time since we joined the galactic community, humans aren't just the help. She paused, searching for the word. Heroes? Ken suggested. Yeah, Mia laughed softly. Heroes, how does that feel? Ken looked down at the crude drawing still clutched in his hand, at the crystalline pendant resting on his chest, at the burns that would scar but would heal. It feels, he said slowly, like maybe we've been heroes all along. They just needed someone to show them. Outside the medical bay, the news was already spreading through Station Epsilon 7 and beyond. A human had done the impossible. A human had shown that courage wasn't about species or evolution or advanced technology. It was about the choice to act when others wouldn't, to sacrifice when the cost was high, to see a child in danger and decide that their life was worth everything. The galaxy was taking notice, and humanity, for the first time in its interstellar history, stood a little taller. The end.